Yeah, I want to talk about adjustments and if we saw any of those. Want to start by hearing from Sean Payton in his postgame press conference talking about things they need to clean up.
There were a number of things that we have to improve on, starting with me. At halftime, I had said to him, every key indicator, key to victory we outlined at the start of the week, man, we're doing the opposite relative to what we thought was going to be important. So we flipped the script a little bit in the second half. I thought the punt returns, obviously the takeaways were big. We found a way to win. We don't have a lot of time, but we can't go home tomorrow night when the day's finished and not have looked at that film and made the corrections. And that starts with all of us too as coaches. But we struggled to find any rhythm offensively. Certainly we turned it over, but we made enough plays in the second half. I thought the punt return game helped us. That was significant, and yeah, that's where we're at.
All right, so he says a couple of things in there that I like, I'm not sure about that one, Sean. And it's, first and foremost, it's the flip the script in the second half.
Yeah.
No, they didn't. They didn't flip the script in the second half. I was sitting there watching the game. You were sitting there watching the game. I don't think they flipped the script in the second half as much as the Colts kind of peed down their leg.
The Colts definitely handed you a gift, that's for sure. Now, did you take advantage? The Sutton touchdown late? Sure. Okay. There were moments, and maybe that's where the moment turns into momentum for the Denver Broncos, because can we accept what they did late? I mean, he threw 3 touchdown passes. He stopped throwing picks, thank God, and he threw 3 touchdown passes. So does that late momentum carry over to this game? I think it does. Now, what did they learn from that late momentum? They learned you're not going to get all the deep shots all the time. Stop trying to go for the big plays. You're not going to throw a touchdown every time you throw a pass. Mm-hmm. And it's okay when you look at the defenses that you're going to face, if they're going to play shell coverage, if you got to dink and dunk down the field, well, isn't that what Bo Nix was accused of at Oregon by the people that didn't really pay attention, because he does go downfield as well? But if, hey, the guy that loves to shorten underneath stuff, he needs to do that to win, yeah, that's what Bo Nix can do. Mm-hmm. So just call the right game. Back to Sean Payton having a proper game plan against the Chargers. For me, it's his adjustment in looking and anticipating what the defense is going to be.
Okay, I like that. And he's talking about the running game not getting going. He shouts out Marvin Mims a couple of times there in that clip, because Marvin did save the bacon of that team. But he's talking about the running game, too, which we've talked about over and over and over again. Ironically, we'll use Marshawn to tell us about the running game.
Over and over.
I was thinking about this last night, Cecil, and I might go maybe New Orleans. That's probably it. I'm really thinking like third quarter, couple of plays, not like a whole second half, but just a couple plays in that second half. Have the Broncos, has Sean Payton been able to utilize play action at all this year?
No.
Like, it's not even a part of his game plan because there's no commitment to running the ball.
Right. So what they'll do is they'll do a little RPO bow, which creates a mesh.
Oh, yeah.
But in that mesh, much like Jonathan Cooper proved when he sacked Anthony Richardson, like, just go for the quarterback. Just go hit the quarterback, and hopefully on the back end, your guys help clean up the running back if he actually gets the ball. So what they'll do, it's Kev's favorite part, is RPO bow. But everything would be so much more effective with an actual ground game. And I've seen people say, well, it's not the running backs, it's the offensive line. That's completely false. That's 1,000% fake, because they're a top 5 run blocking unit. And that's individually, mano a mano, about who you're blocking. They're a top 5 unit in that aspect. It's a running back problem. So what I was disappointed as we watched the injury report, right, and we've talked about that, I want to just see where Tyler Baday's at. I want a Tyler Baday question. Yeah. I want an answer, because your ground game has no answers to this point.
Well, Sean talked about that on his Monday conference call.
Yep.
The running game, or really lack thereof.
We're not all the way through the tape yet, just with our schedule, but I would say there's some looks we've got to be better at relative to when we're running a certain play into some tough looks where now you don't really have the leverage. We've got to do a better job as coaches, starting with me, and having solutions when the looks aren't what you're practicing. Overall, though, I think it's an area that here we are with 3 weeks left in the season. We have to find more consistency there.
See, and this is what, all right, you keep saying that, Sean. He just said it. You have 3 weeks left in the season. That's about the 16th time you've said that exact phrase. So my question to you, Cecil, my question to Broncos country, and they can answer at 303-713-1043 on the RamosLaw.com text line, is this just it? is this just what we have to accept as the Broncos running back room?
Yeah.
Nobody getting over 100 yards. I mean, what are we at, 33 games now?
Right.
Without a 100-yard rusher? Is this just it over these 3 weeks and a wild card weekend? Who knows if they can win that game and continue their season? And they have to address it. You said it yesterday. It's the number one priority in the offseason with what they've done to this roster, extending guys. So do I just have to go, all right, yeah, Sean's going to say this nonsense, and he's just blowing smoke.
Yes.
And this is what it's going to look like in the final 3 weeks and a wild card weekend.
And he said something very interesting there because he said we have to get consistent enough. Like, I think they just have to run enough. We want a 100-yard rusher.
Sure.
We want Audric Estime to take over this backfield, or Tyler Bidet or Blake Watson or anybody. But your chances of adding anyone, I mean, it's just nil. You look at the market. I think people have asked us about, like, Leonard Fournette. Hey, what's Leonard Fournette doing?
There was the Chiefs waived
Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Right.
Night.
So people were saying, hey, should you kick the tires on a former first-round back? Well, he's got the same sort of impatience that Javante does, and he doesn't have Javante's size or used to be tackle breaking ability. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is like, he's okay, but should you be going to look at that? Like, okay, not necessarily. If they do, I'm open for anything, but you miss the window a couple of times. When did this happen? Like, where were the stumbling blocks? And George Payton's had a lot of home runs, had a lot of big hits this year, right?
Yes, he has.
Where's the stumbling blocks been? Choosing Javante over Samaje was a mistake. Because with Samaje, you would still get the pass protection that you want, but then you'd get better production as a runner and a receiver out of the backfield. It's just Samaje Perine.
And you could run multiple plays from similar sets to keep the defense.
So
guessing.
at mandatory minicamp, when Javante was looking overweight and sluggish, and I had asked the question on these airwaves and on Orange and Blue today, I was like, hey, is Javante going to get cut? People thought it was nuts. Like, why would you say that? Well, then you saw him lose the weight. And in training camp, it's like, wow, Javante lost the weight. There's something there. Maybe he can actually be back after the knee injury. He's not going to be back after the knee injury. It's just not going to happen. Samaje Perine has turned into a fine asset in their kind of committee with Carson Steele or Isaiah Pacheco, right? Kareem Hunt running the ball there. They're trying to run enough with Kansas City. So I think that was a mistake there. And for me, just because I'm a football nerd, super quick, you didn't trade for Khalil Herbert. Khalil Herbert could be the best back that you have on your roster right now.
Where did he go? Cincinnati?
Cincinnati. And they use him like once a game. He'll have one carry for 14 yards, and then he'll never play again, and they'll go back to Chase Brown, whatever. But, like, you had an opportunity at the trade deadline, and Khalil Herbert was traded for what, like a seventh rounder? For nothing, basically. So you've had two missteps there at the running back position because you either, thought maybe Tyler Bidet could be the guy, which maybe he could have been, and then you trusted Javante too much when the answer, honestly, was probably just keeping Samaje.
Okay. Yeah, it's every time I see Samaje in the stupid Chiefs uniform picking up a third down on 3rd and 11, I get angry about that.
Yeah, I get angry as well.
Yeah.
Anytime the Chiefs have success and it's a former Bronco that helps them out, I get upset.
I like this text from a Maryland texter. Throw your name on here and we'll give you a shout out. You can accept that this is the running back room, but if you accept the rushing scheme and play calling, see, he's calling names here. You're an idiot, as they write. I formation, quarterback under frickin' center, fullback, tailback, guaranteed to improve the running backs. You're onto something there. And again, we've talked about the double back look in the backfield.
They'll do power
and
eyes
what
sometimes.
that means. They do it a little bit. I kind of agree with the texter. They could do it more, especially with a guy like Jaleel if you're really wanting to break that outside edge or use him between the tackles, which they've tried a couple of different times.
Yes.
But it's personnel stuff. It's, again, if you're not going to use the fullback, why the hell is he on the roster?
Well, and then I'll go back, and for the Maryland texter, did he spell your correctly? Did he use the apostrophe R-E?
He did, yeah.
You were an idiot.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Nice work.
I always think it's funny when it's like, you're a moron, and they spell Y-O-U-R.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, who's the actual moron? So good job, Maryland texter.
He wrote on the bottom, I didn't see it because I didn't scroll enough, contact me for more undefeated advice.
I like that. That is a great one. For me, it's looking at this ground game and going, you know what? I get it, but that's also the declaration of influence.
Yeah.
Because if I'm lined up in an I formation, quarterback under center, I already know what you're doing. All right? So could it improve the ground game? Yes. Is the run blocking line very good? Yes. I'm not going to say that wouldn't work, but it wouldn't work enough. You need a major overhaul.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing. And for our Maryland texter, thank you. Very funny. Very good.
That was good.
But I will say this. At the end of the day, you got to get your job done. You got to get your job done. Spivak could write me an entire rundown of everything to say at every time, and I could read it verbatim and say, this is what I'm saying right now, and I am totally reading. Or I could just get my job done. I could have the help from my coach, and then I could do what my coach wants me to do. Have that expectation. I expect Javante Williams to be better. Again, I'm not a Flowers guy. Don't get offended. And I'm not a apology guy. Should we apologize to Javante? No. Why? Because he has a job to do, and he's failing. He's failing in that job. Now, Audric Estime, and I'm going to assume this, Audric Estime is failing at his job, which is you better prove you can protect the quarterback or you're not going to play. If Jaleel McLaughlin hadn't gotten hurt, does Estime even see the field?
Probably not. Marvin Mims got a carry before Audric Estime got a carry on Sunday.
Does that tell you anything? Right? So you have a job to do. It's up to you to, okay, this is the scheme. Maybe Sean could go a little more All right, okay. Because I've seen people say that. Well, it's the scheme. It's the scheme. Yeah, how about it's just them? How about it's Javante Williams not being good enough?
Right.
And if that offends you, get offended as you like. Because that's the God's honest truth, and the truth isn't meant to make you feel good.
It is so much more of, you said it earlier in the week, to me, it's gone, like, you got to surround Bo with playmakers. And when I say playmaker, I always think wide receiver. I'm thinking outside edge, your big playmaker down the field.
Right.
But man, it's the more and more I watch, almost by series, that thought goes away of like, it's running back, and then it's another running back. They might not, Jaleel's not going anywhere. Blake Watson's still going to hang around, but they might have to just reset that entire room. And Jaleel might be like an outside looking in guy next year if they address this room properly.
And no offense to any of our Fighting Irish out there, Vic and Ryan, don't get offended when I say this, but like you have a day 3 running back that you're kind of hoping, like Audric Estime could be the answer, or he could just be a guy.
Yeah.
He could just be a guy because it's a day 3 running back. And I'm sorry, I don't want to be harsh, but this league is harsh. This league isn't about sensitive feelings. It's not the feelings league. It's the National Football League. And football is brutal.
Yeah.
It's a brutal sport. Audric Estime was a great college back. I have no idea what kind of pro back he's going to be. Right? All I know is every team in the league passed on him a zillion times, and you pick him up in the 5th round. I'm not going to sit here with the fantasy of like that. Give the ball to the 5th rounder. I'll try anything at this point, but I'm also not going to say like, no, they don't need to take a running back in the 1st round because they've got Audric Estime. What's that mean?
Yeah.
Nothing at all. So when I say running back in the 1st round, it's almost like we're going back and people are calling me a homer because I said the Broncos would win 9 games. And because I say they got to move up and they got to get Ashton Gente because I believe they want Ashton Gente. That's just me guessing. I believe that. But my God, if you aren't on board with this, and talk to me about Tyler Warren in 3 years. He's not Brock Bowers, and he's not Taysom Hill either. Because you got Taysom Hill. You need a run. Adam Trautman's fine. He'll be okay. You could upgrade from Adam Trautman, but he's fine.
You could definitely upgrade.
But he's fine. But what is worse, the play of Javante Williams and the production, or the play and production of Adam Trautman, which does include blocking.
Yeah.
And he does a good job at that. So it's like, you're good enough. You're okay at tight end. You're like a C- at tight end. You're an F at running back.
Well, and there's also the trickle-down effect. You run the damn ball, you're going to open more of the middle of the field, and then that's where your tight end's going to eat.
Yep, and that's exactly what you do against shell coverage. And I'm glad on our YouTube channel. Hi, YouTube. How's it going?
YouTubers?
Denver Sports on YouTube. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that you never miss a vid. We've had commenters say, like, well, what did you expect against the Colts? You're supposed to power that up, and you're supposed to go to the tight ends. And they couldn't really do either one because you can't run. It all starts with the ground game. I know in Kev's heart, it all starts with Bo Nix, but it starts with the ground game. Bo is dangerous. Bo is deadly. Bo can be a great quarterback in this league. And if you run the ball with Bo, look out.
That's right. That's right. Ice man. Bo is dangerous.
Oh my God.
You said it.
I did, right? So I'll give you another movie quote. drop that zero and get with the hero.
Yes. All right, I want to have a little fun here real quick. We want to talk some Nuggets and Avs in a second, but I was listening back to Sean Payton's postgame, and he's asked about, obviously, the Jonathan Taylor play. This is what he had to say.
That was significant. I don't get it, but I'm not going to try to. Yeah, I don't know what that was going to be. Yeah, it was a significant play that you go from breaking a long run for a touchdown for your team to us having the ball. So, yeah, there was a number of plays, but that was one of them.
So he's talking about the mistake, obviously, fumbling the football. And I thought to myself, it'd be fun for the texters and fun for us. Kevin, if you got one, throw it in as well. You ever make like a big boneheaded play playing sports? Now, not at the NFL level because we talk about it and don't play in it. But have you ever had like a boneheaded moment? Because I know I certainly have had one, and I'm embarrassed about it still to this day. Playing like, I don't even remember the league that we were in, like Highland Hills basketball back in the day.
Right.
And we were the Panthers. Shout out to Chris Wassel, my teammate. It was the end of the game, and tight game. One of the other players on my team's job was to bring the ball up the floor. Time was ticking. They weren't bringing the ball up the floor fast enough. I ran down, took the ball from my teammate to bring the ball up the floor to ensure that we got a possession with the clock winding down. And now, did I dish it to Chris Wassel in the corner for a game-winning shot? Yeah, I absolutely did. So did I make the right play? Probably. But was it boneheaded and disrespectful? Absolutely. I'm like my hands are sweaty right now talking about it. I'm embarrassed that I did that.
Okay, yeah, we've had sports embarrassing moments. It's embarrassing that I admit that I'd had to play six-man high school football because then people would be like, you didn't play real football. But my coach, sorry, Coach Hodson, I know you didn't appreciate the fact I couldn't remember plays.
Okay.
So he'd tell me the play on the sideline.
I think all coaches might have a problem with that.
I think so, yeah. But I was a quarterback. So he'd tell me the play on the sideline, something simple like pop, pass out, and I'm a moron. So I'd run to the huddle and be like, what'd coach say? I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Let's go 36 OP QB drag because that was my play.
Yeah.
But there was one time against Deer Trail. Stupid Deer Trail.
Yeah, shout out the egg loft.
Stupid Deer Trail. So they bent my knee back in a pile. And I was sitting there laying on the ground, and it was a tight game, right? The refs looks at me, and he's standing above me, and these guys, my knee is bending the wrong way because they're a dirty team. Yeah. Sorry, Deer Trail, y'all are dirty. And so I look at the ref, and I was like, get him off me. And the ref's like, give me the ball, son. I was like, get him the blank off me.
Oh, yeah.
And I threw the football, and I hit him in the nuts.
Wow.
And I got a personal, like a delay of game, 15 yard. Like, yeah, so.
That's a pretty good one.
That was my boneheaded play.
I guess it is bonehead. I was bad at baseball, and I got to play in a baseball all-star game, literally as like an alternate because little Johnny got the flu or whatever. And I struck out, and the catcher dropped the ball, and you can run to first base.
Yeah.
And the catcher dropped the ball, so I'm starting to run. And you guys aren't going to believe this, but with my athleticism, he caught up to me in about a half a second and shoved me and like pushed me down instead of just tagged me out. And I had already known like baseball wasn't for me anyway. And I turned around and decked the kid. Like got up and just pow right then and there. And our coach's name was Del Rey. I'll never forget, like, Del Rey? Coach Del Rey? What a crazy name.
Okay.
And obviously he was upset of the decision I made. And my folks weren't there, so I had to go sit in Del Rey's car till the game was over so he could call my parents and tell them what I had done, which was also kind of boneheaded.
Yeah.
Kevin, you got one?
Yeah, so you brought up Highland Hills basketball.
Yeah.
I played at Highland Hills basketball. And did you ever play at Ace Gym up there kind of by
that
Federal?
Sounds very familiar.
It's like an old-time school. So
it's like between Lowell and Federal on 72nd. Yeah.
They have the basketball court, but the seats are not like on the sidelines.
Yep.
They're above the court, like above the roof. So close game. My dad draws up. He's the coach. He draws up a great play. It's called circle. You line up like in an I formation. Front guy comes around the back. The back guy sets a screen. And JJ is going to be wide open for an easy layup. Kevin, who's got the best arm on the team? Kevin, because he was John Elway Jr. at the time. And I get the ball, and I throw it, and it hits the roof and comes back out of bounds. Oh. And I'm like, we had the greatest play drawn up, and I hit the roof of a basketball gym because of the way it's set up.
Yeah.
years later, me and my dad talked about it. We're like, technically, the ball never went inbounds, so we should have had another try, but
The roof is out of bounds.
The roof is out of bounds.
well, it didn't go across the out of bounds line.
You just catch it off the bounce and keep playing.
It's not arena football, Kev.
Foco Dan says when he was playing soccer, he had a teammate take the ball the length of the field, score on his own goalie. What made it worse was that his entire family was yelling, "Wrong way!" the whole time. He was 14 years old.
Whoops. Never played soccer again.
Yeah, that one is pretty bad for sure. So send some of those in. There's always embarrassing moments, right? Like in your sports life.
Yeah, if you don't have one, you're lying.
Exactly. Yeah, you're listening to. We're doing a sports talk show. We have plenty, right? You're listening to a sports talk show.
I remember sitting down
at
dinner one time with my scouting buddies in Orlando, I think, and it got around. I can't say his name, but Lunchbox. It got around to Lunchbox because we were talking about our biggest misses, right? Our misses in evaluating players. And so it gets around, this guy missed, I missed, of course. Gets to Lunchbox, he's like, "Yeah, I know, miss." And we just started laughing. It was like, dude, you love Jake Locker. Come on, what's the matter with you? What's the matter with you? You had bad plays. You had boneheaded plays. I know you did because we all played sports.
We saw them 100%. Also, throw your name on this text. The texter writes, Dover, you get a little too local for me sometimes. I'm also a former Highland Hills Panther myself. Maybe we were teammates. Maybe this is my long-lost buddy, Corey. After Panthers, never talked to you again, Corey. Maybe this is you. We're rekindling our friendship right here live on the radio.
Shout out Corey.
Yeah. He broke his arm like halfway through the season, and it was a big letdown because he was our small forward at 4'2", small forward, you know?
Real small.
Yeah. I like sharing some of the old stuff of, the texter remembers this. Is this Joe Palumbo that threw it? So what about the time you dropped the AYL Super Bowl game-winning touchdown, Josh? Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, I did that too. Now, to my credit, Joe Palumbo, the ball was a little low. I had to reach down. My hands
hit your hands,
so that's the rule, right?
And it's the championship?
Yeah, it was I
Game
think
winning?
they called it the Sega Bowl back then.
Sega Bowl?
Sega Bowl and Thornton Junior Football League.
Championship?
Yep.
And you dropped it.
And I dropped it.
Wow.
I got another one real quick.
Oh, okay.
And this is, you guys are really going to love this one. And I'm kind of bad. I'm saying it on air. We're at the Final Four in 2017 in Phoenix. And we go to the jam session, the Fan Fest.
Oh, yeah.
Christian Leitner's there.
Oh, wow.
Now, Mr.
I
Duke.
hate Christian Leitner.
Thanks.
Everyone hates Christian. That's why you guys are going to love the story. So they're saying fans could come and reenact the shot that Christian Leitner made back in the day. So he's inbounding the pass like Grant Hill did.
Did they stop the clock like they did when Leitner shot it?
The clock
There wasn't
ran.
enough
Their
time.
clock ran.
There wasn't
The
enough
clock
time
ran.
to do a full throw down the court, have him do a move, turn around, and shoot. There wasn't enough time. Yes, finish this great story about Christian Leitner. I'm fascinated.
So Leitner throws the ball, and my dad's like, I'm going to be so proud. My sons are going to make this basket and relive this moment. My brother, he missed the shot. I get it. Now, Christian did throw me a low pass, but I caught it. I did the dribble. I shoot it from the free throw line, and it felt so good. I was like, oh, that's the greatest shot ever. I airballed it.
In front of Christian.
In front of Christian Leitner wearing Duke gear.
If
and my
only
dad
he
goes,
would have airballed it.
Yeah.
my dad said that is the most embarrassing moment of his life.
Wow.
That his sons
Pops,
let him down.
Pops, don't say that.
All of these years.
Think it. Yeah, tell everyone else in the family, but don't say that, Pops.
Yeah, Dad. I'm sorry, Dad.
Yeah. I get it from your father's perspective. I totally get it.
I mean, it's like if Peyton Manning was to throw me a pass and I would drop it.
Yeah. That's bad. It's
Yeah.
very, very bad. Yeah. This is just for skateboarders. A freshman in high school, I tried to do a kickflip and popsicled myself, which means, it's going straight up in between the legs.
Oh.
It can lead to some very, very bad situations.
Whoops.
Keep them coming. That's fun. Little fun stuff. What's your boneheaded moment of your sports career? Where's your Jonathan Taylor moment of your sports career? 303-713-1043. All right, the Nuggets, maybe they just have to lead the game after